month's TCM Spotlight. Welcome back, Mark.
Thanks so much.
Up next from producer John Ford and director Greg Toland, it's December 7th. Now, we are going to see an uncensored version of this film. This is not the version that the military ultimately released.
Right. The version the military released is almost 45 minutes shorter than this. And when you see this movie, you'll see why it was deemed unreleasable, because the purpose of December 7th was propagandistic. It was meant to show that the Navy was rebuilding its fleet successfully after Pearl Harbor. That was really all it was supposed to be.
But Greg Toland took it in a very, very different... First of all, Greg Toland, who badly wanted to direct, great cinematographer, shot The Grapes of Wrath for John Ford, and of course shot Citizen Kane.
Right. Really wanted a chance to direct, and was in Ford's unit in the Navy, and so Ford gave Toland the shot at going and making this film December 7th. And after weeks went by with no word from Hawaii about how it was going, Ford was told that he'd better get out there himself and investigate. So he went from Washington to Hawaii, and what he found was that Toland had kind of taken the ball and run about 90 yards in the wrong direction. This had become two things that it really, really couldn't be. One was a feature-length movie that was largely scripted and focusing primarily on actors, including actors playing Uncle Sam and the conscience of America, but also a really kind of ugly and paranoid and racist, even by the standards of that moment, depiction of Americans of Japanese origin and recent Japanese immigrants, especially in Hawaii, as all potential spies, all people who were in on it, all people who absolutely could not be trusted.
And to give you an idea of how offensive and dangerously offensive it is, remember, this was a country that was interning Japanese, and even given that, thought, we can't do this.
Right. I mean, it's a strange thing, because even then, the Army had its own kind of not particularly pure reasons for saying this is too much. They had interned all of these Japanese Americans. Their eventual plan was to resettle those Japanese Americans in very small clusters throughout the West. And they worried that a movie like this would so alarm small towns and villages that none of them would take the ex-internees.
Fearing that the movie would assist in a not-in-my-backyard mentality.
Right. And we should say also that there were people in the Army and in the Roosevelt administration who knew, even during the height of World War II, that this war would end, that there would be some sort of reconciliation between Japan and America, and that we would end up working with the Japanese again, and who did object to this movie on grounds of racial caricature.
Yeah, I'm impressed in reading about those people in your book who thought, look, this will end. Maybe it's going to be 1950. But it will end.
Right.
And we're going to live in a world with Japan and Germany, and we need to be prepared for that. And this movie was not going to prepare people for that.
No, I mean, and what we're seeing now is the movie, not the movie that was released and that was up for the Oscars, in fact, but this is the movie that John Ford was handed and told he'd better fix because he had made this mess.
And Ford did fix it, cut 45, 50 minutes out of it, made it a much shorter film, and made it about rebuilding the fleet in Hawaii.
Yeah, there's still definitely some of Toland's footage in there, and a little bit about Uncle Sam, but also, in particular, Toland really advanced the idea that America was caught napping, that it should have been onto the Japanese long before it was.
Yeah. The Navy, that's another thing the Navy hated, the idea that they were asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, so this is the only movie in this whole series that really was not meant to be seen.
Yeah, and you get a chance to see it now. You will see that it is not a great piece of propaganda, but it is fascinating. But remember to put it in the context of the time, 1943, the middle of the war. From 1943, the originally censored, unedited version with Walter Houston playing Uncle Sam, December 7th.